Hey guys, welcome to Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. If you are just coming in after that Detroit Pistons game, we just played the Charlotte Hornets, just wrapped up with that game. This should be a really good show. We're going to go over some, quarter notes, and then after I'm done kind of rambling, we will open up the show to comments and questions for the live viewers that are watching on YouTube. So if you guys are coming in, do me a favor, hit that like button. It does help the algorithm on YouTube to push out the content for Pistons fans just like you guys watching each and every day. But let's get into this game. So first quarter, I should just say the first half. If you're gonna go back and watch this game, just skip through the first two quarters. Just watch the third and the fourth quarter, because you'll be really frustrated watching this game. Two quick fouls on Duren. That's something that he does struggle with. I know like the officiating tonight. We're gonna get into it. He did have two quick fouls. I thought he played pretty good, especially defensively tonight. I do want to give him his flowers and kudos to that. I thought he had multiple possessions tonight where he was trying to protect the rim. He was communicating. He was identifying switches. I thought Duren did a really good job tonight. Tobias Harris started off hot, and he was, in my opinion, the MVP of this game. He had 10 points to start off the first quarter. And I think he's a player that I expect the Pistons to feature more with Jaden Ivey being out with that broken fibia. I don't really know how long Jaden Ivey's going to be out. Broadcast basically said he might come back this season. Who knows? A little TBD on that. But really liked what I saw at Tobias tonight, stepping up as that veteran, especially with the way the game was officiated tonight. But the defense in the first, you guys, was just really non-existent. Charlotte was without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, their two best players. And the Pistons still lost the first quarter to the Charlotte 31-26. They shot 9 out of 23 from the field. Charlotte shot 12 out of 22. Getting into the second quarter, got to give this rookie just his flowers. Rod Holland's been really great, you guys. The month of December, I thought, was his best month as a rookie so far in a very short season for him. But he came into this game in the second quarter, got the Pistons close after, they did trail the Charlotte Hornets. I really just liked his energy. Paul Reed too. Paul Reed got a little bit of clock in the second quarter as well. And, they were really bringing the defensive effort and the energy. But this is when I think the game just got out of hand. The Pistons had 5 fouls in less than 4 minutes in the second quarter, putting them in the penalty. So the Hornets were in the bonus for the entire second quarter, right? And they shot 14 free throws to the Pistons 13, just in the second quarter alone. And if you look, the Pistons only got to the free throw line. It looks like, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but I know the discrepancy with just the free throws was very alarming. I do have it pulled up on my phone right here. So the Pistons got fouled a total of 10 times tonight, and they only went to the free throw line. It looks like 8 out of 13 from the line. So yeah, the free throw discrepancy was really alarming. I mean, Charlotte got 27 fouls and they shot 30 free throws, but the officiating was completely terrible. I was watching the Pistons post game before I came on this podcast. JB Bickerstaff just ripped into him, and I'm sure he's probably going to get fined for that. But to end the second quarter, Tobias Harris got a tech, had a clean block, coach's challenge. They won the challenge, but he still got a tech for telling a ref off. JB Bickerstaff got a tech to end the second quarter, and then Miles Bridges hits just a prayer of a three-pointer. And Charlotte goes into halftime 65-52. Just the first half, you guys. Non-existent defense, piss poor officiating favoring the Charlotte Hornets. But what made this game watchable and enjoyable, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably agree with me, was the way they came out of halftime with more energy, more defensive effort, and I loved it. Jalen Duren was playing well. Tobias Harris was playing well. Tim Hardaway Jr. had moments tonight. And I felt like they were kind of relying on the 3-point shot a little bit too much for my liking, but that's probably the only thing I would nitpick in the third quarter. But they do regain the lead to end the third quarter 84-82. Going into the fourth, like Tobias, I felt like at times was really crucial to hit some clutch shots for them. The defense carried over from the third quarter. They had just a really great defensive fourth quarter, only holding the Charlotte Hornets to 12 points and a combined 31 points in the second half. Jalen Duren had some, great defense, protecting the rim down the stretch of this game. And the Pistons get their second win at home, back-to-back wins. They beat the Hornets 98-94 is the final score. But we're probably going to get into just the officiating, the way that these officials were one-sided towards the Charlotte Hornets. I don't really understand why, but we'll probably get into it. I'm going to take a quick break. And then we're going to answer some comments, questions, and overall thoughts and wrap this podcast up, you guys. So I will be right back after just a quick commercial break. Okay, you guys, we're back after that quick commercial break. Now, this is the part of the podcast where I open up the show for you guys to, drop some comments and questions if you are watching live on YouTube. The first comment of the show goes to Johnny, and he said, "This may be the first time. I'm glad we have Tobias on our team. We would have not won this without him." Absolutely. Like, Tobias stepped up in a big way. No Simone Fontecchio tonight. He's out due to personal reasons. I don't know what it is. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope he's good. You never really know like what goes on in NBA players' lives. I think sometimes we forget these guys are human beings too. So pray and protect. I hope everything's okay. But to get back to Tobias, and let me fix my chair because the hydraulics in my chair, you guys, like they are so bad. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Now I don't look like I'm 2 feet tall. But to get back to your comment, Johnny, yeah, like Tobias stepped up in a big way. No Jaden Ivey for probably a majority of this season, and that's what you expect out of your veterans. You expect a veteran to step up in a big way, and I thought that the past couple of games he's had key moments, but he was hitting his corner threes. He was getting into the mid range. He was taking the ball to the basket. Had a couple fast break points. The refs actually took one away because Tim Hardaway accidentally knocked over a Charlotte player. I just want to say, like, some of the Charlotte players, and they flopped tonight. Like, low key, like there's a play on Mark Williams where Cade barely touched him, and this guy's like 7 feet, 270 pounds, and he like went to the first row. Like, I don't know, like they played really soft, like really soft. You can see why they don't have 10 wins this season, and they're on an 8-game losing streak. Like, did not just like the way that the game was officiated, but this is leaving my 2 cents with it. This was a rough game. Those refs, man, will take a win regardless. Yeah, like I did not like the way the game was officiated. I thought the refs kind of chilled out a little bit in the third quarter, but when the fourth quarter started, they were back on their bullshit. Like, I'm glad JB went into the refs after the game was over and his post game with the Pistons reporters, because I think the league needs to realize that the officiating problem just isn't a Detroit Piston problem. It's not, that they were favoring the Charlotte Hornets. I've been pretty consistent with you guys throughout the year. The officiating has been piss poor around the NBA. There are some officials that I think need to go back to officiating school. I think there are some officials that need to get sent down to the G League. And this crew tonight definitely got in their feelings. Definitely didn't even pay attention. There was multiple times where JB Bickerstaff tried to call a timeout and they wouldn't reward it to him. Like I honestly just felt that it was like really, really bad tonight. I don't know about if you guys agree with me that the officiating, not just like a Pistons thing, but just like a league wide thing has been like really bad. Like coaches getting ejected, refs missing just calls, like blatant calls, and not rewarding, timeouts to coaches. I think just as a whole, like the NBA has an officiating problem, in my opinion. Red Baron, does anyone know why JB pulled Cade out for the game and didn't sub him back in near the end? He only had 5 fouls. We're to see that. Hope everything is all right. I wouldn't really read too much into it, Red Baron. It could have been the 5 fouls. It could have been maybe his leg. I know he was having some leg issues. I can't remember what the exact injury report was a couple of days ago, but something with the shin. Where he did have surgery. It was he had a little bit of soreness there. So maybe he was sore. Maybe it was just the fouling thing with Cade. Don't really know. I wouldn't really read too much into it, though. Tobias, best game this year, 100%. He stepped up, and we're not asking Tobias to average 25 a night. We're just asking Tobias to contribute, give us a good 15 to 17 points a game, and give us a chance to win this basketball game. I want to give him credit. Like I thought defensively, this was one of his better games too. I mean, he was defending Miles Bridges, who you guys know, a lot of you guys love Miles Bridges on this podcast and on this YouTube channel. I thought he did a pretty good job at defending Miles Bridges. He took the challenge of, trying to guard him on most of the defensive possessions tonight. So I think the MVP of this game is definitely Tobias Harris. Mr. My City Pistons wins. Piston win, ref lose. 100%. You would almost think that the officials were betting the Hornets to win the spread tonight because they were like a plus 200. Because Joe Pesci said that the refs were trying to cover that part. Like nights like tonight, like it's kind of a red flag. 100%. Like they definitely took the spread for the Hornets because they were like a plus 200. But I'm just happy we got to win. We have the Wolves tomorrow, which I think is going to be a really big challenge with, Anthony Edwards, not Carl Anthony Towns, he's not there anymore. Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, all those guys over there. I want to go to a couple more of these comments and questions. Excuse me, guys. My throat is just like trash today. Apologize for that. Being in the penalty with 8:34 in the second quarter is horrible as it gets. Yeah, I was honestly surprised because I'm watching the game and George and Greg say the Pistons are in the penalty in the second quarter, and I was like, man, we're in the penalty in like less than 4 minutes in the second quarter. Like that's kind of a red flag. Like I didn't really see a whole lot of fouls, and a lot of the fouls were just ticky-tacky. Like most nights they probably don't call those fouls. Can we talk about the telecast? It's like playing a guessing game as to what the fuck is going on. Also, can the cameramen stay on the wide shot for a beat longer after a bucket? We were missing live plays. Honestly, man, I do know people that do work in the camera production for FanDuel. I can put in a request, Red Baron. I do know some people that do freelance for them, but yeah, the telecast on most nights, if you guys know, a lot of the illegal streaming sites got shut down recently, and I know a lot of people are having a hard time watching the game. But yeah, the telecast, if you are legally streaming, if you watch the Hornets broadcast tonight, Talk about a glaze fest. Eric Collins and those guys, I thought that the Pistons had no shot of winning that game. And when they won, they were absolutely disgusted. So if you were watching the opposing broadcast tonight, it definitely was really funny to listen to. At what point did you want to fight Bridges tonight? It was the shot before the half. Yeah, I think at the end of the second quarter, case cracks, back-to-back technicals, and then he just heaves up a prayer and makes that 3-point shot. I was like, man, like anytime we play the Hornets, I don't know what it is. It's like some kind of voodoo thing where it seems like they just have our number. Now, if you look back last year on Armani, like 3 of his wins out of 14 games that we won last year were against Charlotte. Monty kind of like figured them out, but like if you think about it, they have 7 wins this year, you guys, and 2 of them are against us. Like we could be over 500 if we just take care of the Hornets. Honestly, like it's really weird. They just play us so well, and I just don't understand it. Why do we not play Reed a couple of minutes? I mean, we played him a little bit, Aaron. I'm with you though. I think Paul Reed at least needs to crack a good 10 to 12 minutes per night under JB. Like if Stu's not really providing any scoring, which I do want to give Stu credit. He had 2 huge blocks tonight, hit a 3-pointer. But nights where he's not scoring the basketball, Paul Reed can provide you with similar defense and more scoring, in my opinion. I think it's just really hard to find minutes for 3 centers on this team at the end of the day, unless someone's hurt, unless somebody's in foul trouble, stuff like that. Wendell Moore was horrific tonight, and Asar looked like he never played offense in his life the last 2 games. I'm glad you said that, Case Crack, or Organic Lindo, my bad. I know JB said that the starting shooting guard position is not going to be set in stone. Like when it's not going to be Wendell Moore's new spot. He said, depending on matchups, we might throw Tim in there. We might throw Malik in there. We might throw Ron in there. We might throw Asar in there. Which just kind of tells me like he doesn't really know what to do with the shooting guard spot yet. Obviously, losing a player, a dynamic player like Jaden Ivey is really crucial for this basketball team. But to get to your Asar point, it seems like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Seems like he's afraid to shoot the basketball. Like he was shooting 3s when he was on a minute restriction and everything was fine. But the past 2 games, it seems like he's a little bit like scared to shoot the ball. Like he's hesitant. I don't know if someone had talked to him. I don't know if it's maybe just watching film and they want him to drive to the basket more. It could be a coaching thing. It could just be on a bad stretch of games right now. But, overall, I think that he's definitely in a rough patch right now. Will the Pistons make an offer for Jimmy Butler? I don't think so. I don't think he really aligns with what the Pistons want to do. I think he's 35. He's a star player, don't get me wrong, original kid. But if I had to bet money on where Jimmy Butler goes, it's probably Memphis. I feel like the Grizzlies would be all in on Jimmy Butler. And they have the capital. They have the young players that the Heat probably want. And I feel like, Ja and Jimmy Butler and Jaren Jackson Jr. would just fit so well together. I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to come to an up-and-coming team like the Pistons. It could be wrong. I think he goes to a contender. Maybe it's Golden State. Maybe it's Memphis. I don't know. Like the fact that Pat Riley went out and said that we're not trading him like a week ago, and then Jimmy Butler has those post-game comments saying that he's not fun. He's not having fun playing basketball anymore. Huge red flag. He gets suspended for 7 games, and then the NBA PA is appealing the 7-game suspension because it's unfair. I don't know. The Butler drama, like as a Piston fan, I got my popcorn. I'm just watching all this unfold. But I think Jimmy Butler, just as a player, I'd love to have him on the Pistons. I just like him as a player, but I don't think he's gonna be a target for us. I think he's more like the people in the chat are saying right now. They're definitely going for contenders. Like Jimmy basically said, I want to play anywhere, but like a lot of people thought that Jimmy Butler has been a problem throughout his career. Like he's never taken accountability. I mean, like Minnesota, Chicago towards the end. No, you have Miami, Philly, like kind of a track record that he's kind of a diva, but he is a really good player even at 35 years old. But yeah, Jimmy the Houston too. Case correct. That'd be nice. I think he goes out west. I think Houston makes sense. Memphis makes sense. I don't know. This OKC just say like, screw it. We got a bunch of picks anyways and go for them because they're just a team that I feel like is going to make a really deep run in the Western Conference Finals. I don't really know. I think if it's Miami, they probably try to trade him out in the Western Conference. They probably don't want to trade him in the East. But hey, I could be wrong. You never really know. I want to get into a couple more, questions and comments with you guys. I know we spent a little bit of time on Jimmy Butler, but I mean, it's trade season. Why wouldn't we not talk about Jimmy Butler? I want to get to Devon's comment. He said they were chanting Jared Goff at the end of the game during the post-game show. Can we call everyone who does his lamos? Here's the thing. I like the Lions. I love Jared Goff. I'm never going to gatekeep fans of like what to say at games, what takes you should have. I'm just going to let fans be fans. But I think the Jared Goff chants, they were cool last year. We're still doing them. I don't understand it. I mean, they were chanting Jared Goff when Tim Hardaway Jr. was gushing blood in the in-season tournament game against the Heat. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, you think if you were at a Pistons game, you would probably chant, "Let's go Pistons," but you're chanting Jared Goff. Like, I get it. The Lions are the talk of the town, have a really big game this weekend against the Vikings. Like, everyone's excited for the Lions. I'm excited for the Lions. I'm sure you guys watching that are Pistons fans as well, like, you love the Lions. You love all your Detroit teams, and you support all of them. But it gets to a point where, like, these chants, at the end of the day, like, they're getting annoying. Like, the Pistons are fun this year. They're currently in the 9 seed, and they're competing for a playoff push. Like, they're competing to try to make the playoffs this year. I think the chants are going to continue to happen. I think the only way that they stop is if the Pistons, go on a string of games and you have more of the casual fans' attention, because I think sometimes if you guys ever attend games, a lot of fans that go to games really aren't on social media. They're not in these YouTube chat rooms when we do these podcasts. They're not on social media whatsoever. They're very casual. And they're going to chant Jared Goff. You have to give fans a reason to chant for something else. Like, the Red Wings are on a 3-game winning streak. The Pistons are on a 2-game winning streak. The Lions are on a winning streak right now. Like, Detroit sports is on the come up. Again, I'm never going to tell fans how you should have opinions about a team or a player, but I'm just annoyed with it at the end of the day. I really am. But I probably will get to one more comment and question, and this comes from Chili Demon. Or Damon. It says, can a team get a backup point guard? I think they will, man, especially. I think if you look that Jaden Ivey's not going to be playing, like Marcus Sasser, I love Sasser, you guys, but he's not a point guard. I mean, can we stop pretending that he's a point guard? Because he's not. He's a shooting guard, a undersized shooting guard. If you just let Marcus Sasser come off the bench and score, I promise you You guys would probably like his game a whole lot more, but forcing him to be a point guard right now, Chile says he plays so much better off ball. Exactly, man. Like he's just one of those guys that can come off your bench, get you buckets when you need it. Like um, the Pistons, if they do want to address, a point guard need, like Lonzo's probably available, Malcolm Brogdon's available. Dennis Schroeder's not available anymore because he's in Golden State, but there are some guards that you could try to target this deadline. You have the cap space to do it, to absorb bigger contracts. If this team keeps winning, it's going to force Trajan's hand to, make a move, because they'll probably lose their draft pick to the Minnesota Timberwolves if they keep winning games like this. They're currently in the 9 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're creeping in on that 8 seed at overall record of 16-18. So our Pistons are playing good ball. I love it. I honestly love it. Someone asked Fultz. I think the only reason why Fultz hasn't got signed well is because he's still injured. He has a knee injury. Honestly, I honestly think that if he wasn't injured, he probably would have signed with an NBA team. I like him as a player, but he's not a consistent shooter, but he's a pretty good defender and he can distribute a little bit. Just the guards that are available, like if you were to go sign like a Dennis Smith Jr. who's trying to get back in the league, like it's pretty low. But if you want to trade for someone that maybe can provide a little bit more, I think there are some options out for the Detroit Pistons to target a guard. But it's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, I'm trying not to laugh, you guys. Like, I'll just say this. Like, I have a lot of respect for what Koo does. I'm never going to clown another Pistons podcaster. I'm just not. I have a lot of respect for, the Pistons Pulse. I love their podcast. I listen to it every week. I listen to Koo's podcast. I listen to Pistons Jack. Like, we all support each other in the community, guys. I'm never going to trash on another Detroit Pistons podcaster, because they've supported me and I support them at the end of the day. But I'm never going to tell you guys what to say. You guys have your own opinions. You're entitled to them. But I'm going to wrap up this podcast, you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And on Sunday. You're going to see us a lot the next 3 days. So we're going to be doing a Detroit Pistons versus Minnesota Timberwolves post-game show. And then we're going to be doing a longer form podcast this Sunday with Sean Murphy, kind of discussing Jaden Ivey's injury, some trade targets, and much more. So I'll see you guys this weekend. Hope you guys have a good night, and go Pistons.